Happy Thursday, everybody. Back at it again with a second video on the week because of the fact that I'm still trying to produce more content. So for those of you that are new here, what's going on? My name is Chris. I'm a content creator and photographer who I do this in my free time. And I just share my honest thoughts. These are not technical reviews, but I wanted to get into today's video because of the fact that this combo is something that's new to me, but at the same time, not necessarily new to the channel. And basically the way I wanted to gear today's video was realistically along putting new cameras with old lenses. And that's one of my personal favorite things to do because of the fact that I love the nostalgia, especially as I've talked about on previous videos. I love combining both my, Fuji cameras with the film simulations and older lenses because it just gives such a vintage film-like feel. But I've talked about the Fuji combo before. So today, while I wanted to talk about these older Minolta lenses that I have been adapting to my camera, and for reference, I will show off this combo, which I've posted a lot on both Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, which my XM5 with the film simulations paired with a Minolta 50-2.0, or I also have a 50-1.7, but made a new addition this week. And this is gonna be a shorter video because I wanted to talk about pairing the absolute monster of the Sony A7C Mark II with a 50mm prime Minolta lens that is fully manual. And as I've talked about previously, I love vintage lenses because of the fact that it's more so about these imperfections that you get that aren't so clinically perfect that you see on a lot of these newer lenses. I mean, with my Sony lenses, with my newer Fuji lenses, even my Viltrox lenses, I think that everything these days is so striving for clinical perfection that while that's not bad, because especially for commercial work and professional level work, that's the importance. You don't want to have flaws in your image quality or anything along those lines. But when I pair these types of cameras that, both of these came out in 2024, if I could actually get this right, these are new cameras. And this lens, if I'm not mistaken, came out in 1979, which makes it roughly, 46 years old? That's insane to me. And for a less than 1-year-old camera on both of these ends, because I know the A7C II came out at the beginning of 2024 and the XM5 came out at the end of 2024, they're geared to have all these new technologies. They're geared to perfection and content creation. And as I've mentioned previously with some of my other manual lenses like the TT Artisan or the 7 Artisans, those lenses, I love using them. I haven't bought any of just straight out of the box geared for Sony E-mount, but I did want to try this out because as you can see, I picked up a Photo-C converter, which this converter itself was $14. And while the manual lenses you can get, like the 7 Artisans and the TT Artisans for Sony E-mount, some of them are a little bit more expensive because it is full frame versus the APS-C on my Fujis. Like, I would rather spend $14 and buy an old lens as compared to spending maybe $200 on a newer lens that has ultimately the same effect. There's still no autofocus, and I'm not looking for something perfect. I'm not buying the Voigtlanders or the Thypox or anything like that because they are much higher end, and I do this for fun in my free time. So just wanted to come on here today to kind of share my sentiments of, if you are newer to photography, if you're just still experimenting, or if you're just looking to switch up your shooting style, slow yourself down, get yourself a manual lens. In my opinion, get yourself an older lens. I mean, whether it be Canon, Minolta, an old Nikon lens, like anything like that, it allows you to slow down and just enjoy the art of photography. I haven't used any of these for video yet, which is something I might want to experiment with in the future, especially as I've been doing more of this content creation and YouTube videos and videos on social media. So wanted to share off some pictures that I took this week after getting this adapter because it came in not yesterday morning, but Tuesday morning. So I've had the opportunity to play with it a little bit. I'm gonna be taking it on a trip this weekend, which, you know, at the beach where I spend a lot of my time in the summer, there's always some different sights to see as compared to around my neighborhood or anything like that. So stay tuned and, you know, check the socials if you want to see any of the photos that come out of this weekend. I always try to specify what type of lens I'm using when I'm posting on Instagram or TikTok. So check it out, and here's some photos. Let me know what you think. Once again, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next one.